Because McLaren, you were in a similar situation. You had to make a choice between keeping Ricciardo and chucking him in, taking that financial hit and going for someone else. And it seems to have paid off.
Yeah, I mean, because, Mahad said it during the live stream that Ricciardo was brought in to be the number one driver and he failed at that quite drastically. And the Sergio Perez thing for me, I just feel, I don't know, like I know there's a lot of noise. He's not had a great year. How bad do you think he was last season, in all honesty? When you look at the grand scheme of things, I don't think he was that terrible compared, especially with his first year, how good he was in his first season at Red Bull. I think Red Bull are happy with, I mean, it depends what part of Red Bull we're talking about here, but they are happy with what's happening at hand here because they're still in a very strong position. And I don't think Checo necessarily... I don't necessarily agree with what you're saying there, Mahad, in terms of if this wasn't a non sort of Red Bull driver, he would be ditched. I think they're quite happy because he's still. It's not like it was with Albon or with Gasly, or or like Bottas at the end with Mercedes. This isn't the same thing. I just think this is a case of at the end of the season, we've got to let the season be a write-off, and it was a poor season, no doubt. But next year is a time where, okay, his seat could be on the line purely because he's not getting those P2s. Because it's not about winning the races with him, isn't it? It's not about even, battling with Charles Leclerc or Lando Norris or whoever the case may be. It's simply about, you don't want to put that risk of Ricciardo in the Red Bull and then all of a sudden you're going to have carnage between the two drivers. You don't want a Mercedes. You don't want to do Russell and Hamilton with this Red Bull team. I think half of the team think that.
What I would say is, though, because I hear that because Daniel Ricciardo, I don't think Daniel Ricciardo is the type of driver to come in and go, I'm calm, just being Valtteri Bottas. He's not. That's not Daniel Ricciardo. But I just don't think he'll get a choice. Max is so good.
Ricciardo won't beat Max in that car.
Exactly, and I don't think
default second driver.
And I don't. Yeah, literally, he'll be default second driver, and I don't think it'll be close enough to a point where Daniel can go. I think Daniel's a great driver, and I think he'd do a better job than Sergio Perez right now, if I'm honest.
You think, yeah?
But I just don't think he'll get himself into a position where he can actually challenge Max and they'll end up taking each other out all the time. With George and Lewis, this is happening, or has happened at points through the season, because they've actually been so level out on the track. You can only crash with your teammate if you're actually next to them.
Sure.
So I don't know if Ricciardo would have that opportunity. The thing where I'm like, the main concern I have for Checo is if someone catches Red Bull, like Tommo was saying, if Mercedes come next season with the same level of car that can win as many races as Red Bull, and Checo's in the second seat and driving like he is, there's like a 70% chance that Max doesn't win the championship. Because he doesn't have a rear gunner ever.
Right. Constructors.
A 1,000,000% they lose the constructors. That's a given.
You say, right, all Checo needs to do is just get P2s, right? This is going to go down as one of the most dominant F1 seasons of all time, right? From Max Verstappen, from a driver, from an individual driver. How many times do you reckon Checo's finished second this year in 19 races?
I think it's going to be really low.
How many times?
I think it's 8.
How many times do you think he's finished P2?
I think 8.
I think this is going to be like 5, genuinely.
Yeah.
Actually, no, because he has recovered at times.
I think beginning of the season he was stronger. So I'm saying 8.
P2 or podiums?
P2.
Just P2.
You say if P2's the ask.
P2, right? Yeah. P2 has to, in this car, P2 is like
I'd say podium.
The expectation.
I'd say podium is the minimum. Just because I think like he's not the best driver on the grid. He's not even top 3. He's not even top 5.
But it's the best car by a mile.
Yeah, but as we discussed before in the stream as well, like the best car doesn't necessarily mean this.
True, yeah.
Right, so it's another thing. If it was Hamilton in the Red Bull, if it was a driver that we know he's ace, this guy's really good, then yeah, P2s and whatever. I think if Perez's target should be podiums because he's not that good in terms of the elite, but he's in a great car, so therefore he should be on the podiums, but not necessarily P2 all the time.
Can we still guess P2 just because I really want to know? I actually just really want to know what number.
I say 8.
I'll go 7.
I'd say 6.
I think he's definitely got the second most podiums.
4.
So he's got less than Lando Norris.
4 P2s.
He's got less P2s than Lando Norris.
Out of 19.
Lando
that's
has 1, 2. Yeah, Lando's got 5.
Lando's got 5. He's got more.
Lando has 5 P2s. Checo has
that's
4
P2s.
That's insane.
McLaren didn't even turn up to Lost Creek, bro.
Lando was in a Tango can.
first
For Lando, that's like 5, truthfully, out of 11.
Yeah.
Because the first 8 Grand Prix for McLaren were right off at the back, in the midfield, whatever. So that's 5 out of 11 for Lando and 4 out of 19 for Checo.
The way I look at it is
in terms of opportunity.
The way I look at it is this though: he's not better than Lando, but also I think this is just a bad year. I'm not saying he's got a bad career at Red Bull. That's what people are saying. That's what people are saying. Whereas in his first year at Red Bull, he was good. And you know when you're talking about that, when the neck is on the line, we saw Checo defend for his life in Abu Dhabi, right?
Yeah.
To help Max win that title.
Checo did a job.
Yeah, he did a job, and I think that's what he was signed to do.
He was signed as a second driver.
He was signed as a second driver.
Oh, yeah.
Easily, right? And he thanked God that he had a job in Formula One, because obviously with what was going on with Racing Point.
Like pace-wise, when you actually look relative Max to Alex, Max to Pierre, Max to Checo, they're all pretty close.
Are we talking race pace or quali pace?
Like quality pace specifically.
Quali pace, Perez has been bad at quali since he entered Formula One. So to evaluate Perez,
Did you see?
Race pace,
before they hired him, they know he's not good at quali.
Yeah.
He's going toe to toe with Stroll every week.
And that makes
He's not that good at quality. People kind of know he hasn't got that pace there. It was more about we need somebody that's experienced, that knows he's a number 2. He's grateful. He's just happy to be here, right?
Yeah.
I feel like the tide changed a little bit because beginning of this season he was doing all that big and talk like I'm gonna go for the title. Let's go toe to toe with Max.
He won 2, right?
And I feel like the team were like,
He won two of the first 4.
First 4, right? So there was something right going on.
Yeah.
but the team weren't happy about that because that's not what they had him for.
Exactly. And so here we are. So it's a case of, for me, like they thought they were going to get a Bottas for Red Bull, where it's worked so well with Mercedes, Lewis and Bottas. Obviously, Bottas is great at qualifying from time to time, but this is what they thought they were going to get, and this is what he's signed to do. Yes, he's falling just below par this year, definitely. This year, awful. It's been bad. But I think it's only one bad year. And that's why I just don't get the hysterics about his seat being lost. And I know you said from day when Ricciardo actually came back, the last time I think I was on here, you said, yeah, you think he's going to get that seat next year. And I just think Red Bull would be silly to do that move. They would be silly to do that move.
I think if it's the same next year, he's got to go.
If it's the same as this year, I mean, listen.
4 seconds out of 19.
How does it get any better?
Awful.
How does it improve?
At this age, he's not going to get
Mentally.
Tell me how it improves.
It is a mental thing.
It's only mental.
No.
It's only mental.
I disagree completely.
I disagree
I think
as
it's.
Why? What do you think?
I think he just does
Max
not.
found something in Baku, didn't he?
Yeah, he just can't do what Max does. And Max, obviously, the car is amazing. There's no doubt about it, but it's amazing for Max because Max can utilize.
Max can
He's driving at 100%.
million. Yeah.
If there was 2 Perez's in that car, there'd be a title fight right now.
Yeah.
Because he just can't get his head around it.
There is no way Max starts 2024 as slowly, relatively, as he started 2023. Like Max has had 2 full seasons with this car now. Like the RB, whatever it be, 20 next year.
He didn't even have a slow start in the first 2022. It's just his car blew up.
So he won Bahrain. Saudi had the penalty, didn't he, Max?
No, something happened in quali, no?
Yeah, he had some kind of issue in quality, didn't
Yeah,
he?
he had an issue in Q3 or something. And
He broke down.
So that obviously accounts for a lot of the reason why he didn't win that race. And then Checo was 5th in Australia. And then obviously Baku. And Checo's a specialist, right? That works for his style. It's 90-degree corners.
Yeah.
That's what he does.
That's what he's on. Traction, bang.
There's not any 90-degree corner tracks on the grids.
But
I'll be honest, no, it's a wrap. I'm gonna be deadly sick. I think you might
all
well.
year Ricciardo's going to take that.
I think you might as well give him
Next year,
Yeah.
Baku's not until September. He's not going to get to September.
Oh, God.
Is it not?
No, they changed it.
Yeah.
So he was praying on, let me get to Baku. Let me show what I'm about. Get a contract.
I don't know if given.
Baku's around 17 next year.
Oh yeah, he's done. He's
Get
done.
in there.
Oh yeah, he's actually done. I don't know.
He will
I
be
actually
driving
don't
for
know.
Williams.
I actually don't know because I think Daniel Ricciardo does a better job than Sergio's doing right now.
Yeah,
But I think this
but
car
he's-
suits
but he's
Daniel
not-
better.
but- and I
as
think
well.
he would
He
be.
knows how to drive a Red Bull.
And he would be the perfect distance from Max. He wouldn't be. I don't think he would be.
He's not going to be
close enough
racing
to fight
Max
with
enough.
I don't disagree with that comment. This will not be the same Sergio next year
No.
What makes you believe that?
because he just had a bad year. That's it. You look at him over time. He's not this bad.
No.
not this bad. He's
That is true.
He is bad relative to Max.
But
Today, yes.
in general.
As in, he wasn't bad last year relative to Max, and he wasn't bad in 2022 to Max. He's just
the problem is though, when your mentals go, it's hard.
That is true.
Hard to come back from.
that is true.
Like, because Max is only going to get better. You would imagine, unless he's just in his peak now, fairs whatever. But like Checo at this point in time, this is like an all-time low. Japan, Qatar,
Yeah, for sure.
to here,
nasty.
this stretch is probably bottom.
There's a few stretches, hasn't there?
Yeah, I mean, there was that qualifying run in the middle of the season
Yeah.
where he kept like binning it, like started in Monaco and all that sort of jazz. But this is like serious all-time low. I honestly don't see a world where he can come back next season and go, right, cool, I can be the driver that I need to be to keep this Red Bull seat after what's happened this season.
We'll have to wait
We saw
and
it with
see.
Valtteri Bottas's mentors. It dropped off as that 2021 season happened.
Yeah.
And I haven't really
Bottas
seen.
dropped off, I think, after like 5 years of getting whooped by Lewis.
Oh, facts. Yeah, it must take take a toll.
Whereas I think with Checo, I don't know. I believe him. I believe in him more than I would say Bottas in this scenario.